December 16, 1944, 5:30 a.m., Belgian Ardennes. Watched 1,400 German tanks begin rolling through the frozen forest. The largest armored offensive Germany could still muster. Perfect weather conditions, complete tactical surprise, elite units. Within 72 hours, over 700 of those tanks would be immobilized. Not by Allied fire. Not by mechanical combat damage. By something far more embarrassing, the wrong oil. Before this offensive, Germany controlled the in the Ardennes. After 96 hours, 50% of assault forces dead in place, offensive momentum shattered. 1,400 tanks would prove that perfect tactics couldn't overcome systematic logistics failure. The Allies didn't know Germany's panzers were destroying themselves. But they would watch it happen. Operation Am Rhein was Germany's most carefully planned offensive since 1940. Commanded 5th Panzer Army, the southern spearhead. Walter Model commanded Army Group B, overall operation. These weren't desperate commanders throwing away forces. These were Germany's best remaining tactical minds. 5th Panzer Army assembled. 560 tanks and assault guns. 120,000 combat troops. 4 elite divisions. Veterans from every major Eastern Front battle. To their north, 6th SS Panzer Army. 640 tanks. Best remaining SS divisions. Joachim's 117 tanks alone. To their south, 7th Army. 200 assault guns. Infantry divisions to protect flanks. Total German armor committed, 1,400 tanks and assault guns. The largest armored force Germany had assembled since Kursk. Everyone said this offensive was impossible. Allied intelligence estimated Germany possessed maybe 600 operational tanks on the entire Western Front. They found 1,400 concentrated in a 60-mile sector. Germany had achieved what the Allies thought impossible: total operational security. Not a single Allied reconnaissance flight penetrated the Ardennes forests in the week before the attack. Not one radio intercept revealed the massing forces. The weather was perfect. December fog blanketed the Ardennes, grounding Allied air power completely. Tactical weather advantage, 100%. The terrain favored Germany. Narrow forest roads channeled Allied reinforcements. Defenders spread thin across 60 miles. Rear areas vulnerable. His tactical plan was flawless. Night movement to contact. Bypass strong points. Drive from Meuse River bridges. Reach Antwerp in 7 days. Timing calculated to the hour. Hour 1 to 6, break through weak sectors. Hour 6 to 24, exploit gaps, bypass resistance. Day 2 to 3, cross Meuse River. Day 4 to 7, drive to Antwerp. Every previous German offensive that followed this template had succeeded. Poland 1939, Wehrmacht reached Warsaw in 26 days. Armored spearheads covered 140 miles in first week. Polish forces collapsed under blitzkrieg doctrine. Panzers bypassed resistance, drove for strategic objectives, encircled entire armies. France 1940, German armor broke through Ardennes in 3 days, reached English Channel in 10 days, covered 200 miles. French and British armies encircled at Dunkirk. The doctrine proved unstoppable. Concentrate armor, achieve breakthrough, exploit deep into enemy rear, create chaos faster than enemy can respond. Soviet Union 1941, Operation Barbarossa advanced 600 miles in 3 months, encircled millions of Soviet soldiers, reached outskirts of Moscow. The template worked even against massive enemy. Overwhelm locally, bypass resistance, drive deep, destroy command and control. The blitzkrieg doctrine had never failed when properly executed. Speed defeated coordination. Breakthrough defeated defense. Deep exploitation defeated reserves. Had studied every success. His plan followed proven formula exactly. The doctrine worked. The commanders were proven. The troops were elite. Intelligence was accurate. Allied forces, 83,000 troops across 60 miles. Mostly inexperienced divisions. 242 tanks total versus his 560. Numerical advantage, 2.3 to 1 in tanks. American 106th Infantry Division arrived from United States 5 days earlier, never seen combat, holding 27-mile front with 14,000 men, under strength. Green. American 99th Infantry Division, 3 weeks combat experience, adequate but not veteran, extended across difficult terrain. American 2nd Infantry Division, experienced but exhausted from recent offensive, under strength, needed rest. German intelligence had mapped every American position, every weak point, every gap. Historical precedent said Germany would win. But Germany's plan contained one assumption that would destroy everything. Their tanks would function mechanically. German panzer divisions required specific lubricating oil for winter operations. The Ardennes in December, temperatures dropping to minus 15 degrees Celsius at night. Standard Wehrmacht lubricating oil, rated for minus 10 degrees Celsius minimum. The gap 5 degrees Celsius. That gap would immobilize 700 tanks. Technical explanation. Lubricating oil functions through viscosity. The oil must flow through engine components, transmission gears, and final drives. When temperature drops below rated minimum, oil thickens. At minus 10 degrees Celsius, standard oil flows adequately. At minus 15 degrees Celsius, standard oil becomes semi-solid. Semi-solid oil cannot lubricate. What happens when oil cannot lubricate? Engine bearings seize after 20 minutes operation. Transmission gears grind metal on metal. Final drives lock completely. Tanks stop moving. The proper winter oil, synthetic SAE-10W rated for minus 25 degrees Celsius. Germany had this oil. Synthetic lubricant production, 4,000 metric tons per month. The problem, logistics prioritized combat fuel over lubricants. Fuel allocation for Rhine, 4.5 million gallons. Synthetic lubricant allocation, sufficient for 400 tanks. 1,400 tanks required synthetic oil. 400 tanks received it. The remaining 1,000 tanks, standard oil rated inadequate for Ardennes winter. Logistics officers knew. They reported the shortage to Operational Command. Operational Command reported to Model. Model's response, proceed. Cannot delay for lubricants. Weather advantage closes December 20. The decision prioritized tactical timing over mechanical sustainability. Didn't know. His tank commanders didn't know. His crews didn't know. They would discover the problem when their tanks stopped moving. Technical comparison. Proper synthetic oil. Viscosity at minus 15 degrees Celsius, flows freely. Engine bearing protection, complete. Transmission operation, normal. Tank operational time, unlimited. Standard oil at minus 15 degrees Celsius. Viscosity, semi-solid paste. Engine bearing protection, none after 20 minutes. Transmission operation, grinding failure. Tank operational time, 2 to 4 hours before seizure. The physics were brutal. Temperature, minus 15 degrees Celsius. Oil rated for, minus 10 degrees Celsius. Operational margin, 0. Failure hours not days. Every tank using standard oil was on a countdown to mechanical death. Germany's most powerful offensive was powered by engines that would destroy themselves. The lubricant shortage was an isolated failure. It was symptom of systemic collapse Germany couldn't overcome. German tank production December 1944. Panther tanks, 380 produced. Panzer IV, 270 produced. Tiger II, 45 produced. G3 assault guns, 320 produced. Total German AFV production, 1,015 vehicles. Allied tank production same month. American production. M4 Sherman, 1,800 units. M26 Pershing, 20 units prototype. Tank destroyers, 340 units. British production. Churchill, 150 units. 180 units. Comet, 60 units new model. Soviet production: T-34-85, 1,900 units. IS-2, 350 units. Su-100, 500 units. Total Allied tank production December 1944, 5,300 vehicles. Production ratio: Germany 1,015 versus Allied 5,300. That's 1 to 5.2. For every tank Germany built, the Allies built 5. The gap was growing. August 1944 ratio, 1 to 3.8. October 1944 ratio, 1 to 4.6. December 1944 ratio, 1 to 5.2. Trend accelerating disparity. Why Germany couldn't close gap. Synthetic oil production required. Coal, German mines losing 40% output to bombing. Electricity, power grid damage 60%. Chemical plants, under constant bombardment. December 12, 1944, RAF bombed synthetic fuel plant. December 15, 1944, USAAF bombed oil refinery. Fuel production dropped 35% in 1 week. Lubricant production, dependent on same synthetic chemical processes. When fuel production dropped, lubricant production dropped. But operational planning didn't account for this. The numbers were catastrophic. Germany needed to replace. Eastern Front losses, 200 tanks per week. Western Front losses, 80 tanks per week. Italy, 30 tanks per week. Total, 310 tanks per week needed. Germany produced 250 tanks per week. Deficit, 60 tanks per week. That's 240 tanks per month. Germany fell behind. Over 6 months, 1,440 tank deficit accumulated. Rhine committed 1,400 tanks. Germany was committing nearly every tank it had left. Allied replacement mathematics. Sherman destroyed on Western Front. Replacement arrived in 11 days. German Panther destroyed. Replacement required 6 weeks if available. Allied tank crew killed. Replacement from training pool of 18,000 men. German tank crew killed. Replacement from training pool of 2,400 men. The mathematics were fighting against Germany. Every loss irreplaceable. Every breakdown critical. Every delay catastrophic. Allied logistics could absorb 50% losses and continue. German logistics couldn't absorb 10% losses. Model's plan required 110,000 gallons of fuel per day for 7 days. Germany had fuel for 5 days. After day 5, tanks would run dry even if mechanically functional. After day 3, oil failures would immobilize half the force anyway. Was leading an offensive that couldn't be sustained. Not because tactics were wrong. Because industrial mathematics made success impossible. Germany was fighting production capacity with tactical excellence. The equation had only one solution. December 16, 1944. Hour 1. 1,400 German tanks rolled forward through fog and darkness. 5:30 a.m. First wave penetrated American lines. 6:00 a.m. Breakthrough achieved in 4 sectors. 7:30 a.m. German spearheads 8 miles into American positions. Tactical success complete. 8:45 a.m. First Panther tank stopped moving. The crew commander, Ernst Weber, felt it happen. Temperature gauge climbing. Oil pressure dropping. Engine note changing from smooth roar to grinding shriek. He pulled both brake levers, nothing. Tried to shift transmission, gears locked solid. The Panther coasted 30 meters, stopped. Weber climbed out, checked engine compartment. Oil dipstick came out coated in substance like cold honey, thick, semi-solid, wrong. He radioed, Panther 214, engine seized. Transmission locked, cannot move. Unit commander assumed, battle damage. But Weber's Panther hadn't been hit. No impacts, no penetrations, just stopped. 9:15 a.m., Panther 217 stopped. Commander reported same symptoms, oil thick, engine dead. 9:30 a.m., Panthers 221, 223, 225 stopped. No battle damage. All mechanical. By 10:00 a.m., 12 tanks immobilized in a lone. The pattern emerged across entire offensive front. Panzer Lehr Division reported his Panther's transmission making sounds like gravel in a meat grinder, metal fragments visible in transmission fluid, temperature minus 14 degrees Celsius. Oil congealing in the cold. 2nd Panzer Division watched 4 of his 14 tanks stop moving within 90 minutes. Crews reporting same failure, oil too thick, bearings seizing, transmissions locking. Major Otto Brigade lost 6 Panthers in 2 hours, all mechanical, 0 combat damage, crews desperate trying to restart engines, starter motors grinding. Engines wouldn't turn over. Oil overnight while tanks waited to attack. The temperature December 16, minus 12 degrees Celsius overnight. As sun rose, temperature climbed to minus 8 degrees Celsius. Not warm enough. Oil rated for minus 10 degrees Celsius minimum, remained semi-solid at minus 8 degrees Celsius. Tanks that started their engines immediately experienced bearing damage. Tanks that sat idle overnight couldn't start at all. By hour 6, 47 German tanks immobilized across entire offensive. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Stopped. The crews experienced mechanical death in real time. Inside Panther 214, Weber and his crew sat in disabled tank. The smell, burning oil, overheated metal, something chemical and wrong. The sound, ticking as engine cooled, wind outside, distant artillery, radio chatter reporting more failures. The sight, oil pressure gauge at 0, temperature gauge in red, frost forming on inside of turret from their breath. The feeling, cold seeping through steel, helplessness, confusion turning to anger. The knowledge, this shouldn't happen, tank was perfect yesterday, what changed? Temperature. Just temperature. December 17, temperatures dropped to minus 15 degrees Celsius. New failures, 8 to 12 tanks per hour. Hans, 116th Panzer Division, described it. Started engine 5:30 hours. Temperature minus 15. Oil pressure reading 0, attempted to move, transmission wouldn't engage, tried reverse, nothing, engine running but tank cannot move. Like transmission filled with concrete. He kept engine running, hoping heat would thin oil. Fuel consumption, triple normal rate. After 40 minutes, transmission still locked. After 90 minutes, fuel gauge showing half empty. After 2 hours, engine overheated despite cold. Bearings without lubrication, generating friction heat faster than minus 15 degree air could cool. At 2 hours 17 minutes, engine seized completely. Panther 318 would never move again. December 18, temperatures dropped to minus 18 degrees Celsius. The offensive was dying tank by tank. Reports December 17. 5th Panzer Army operational status. Tanks committed, 560. Tanks operational, 387. Tanks immobilized mechanical, 173. Loss rate, 31% in 36 hours. 0 combat losses in that 31%. All mechanical oil failure. On the American side, confusion turned to curiosity turned to intelligence advantage. Major General James, 82nd Airborne Division, received first reports December 17. Enemy tanks abandoned. No visible damage, crews departed on foot, tank interiors intact, no evidence of fire, penetration, or combat. American intelligence officers investigated abandoned Panthers near. What they found: Tank 1 engine cold, oil dipstick showed semi-solid substance, transmission fluid thick like molasses, no combat damage, crew abandoned after mechanical failure. Tank 2 engine warm. Attempted restart evident from battery drain. Starter motor burned out trying to turn engine through oil. Transmission locked. Crew left tools scattered around engine, evidence of desperate repair attempts. Tank 3 engine torn apart. Crew had attempted field repair. Engine bearings seized to crankshaft. Metal shavings throughout oil pan. Bearings destroyed from running without lubrication. Captain William, 1st Infantry Division Intelligence, reported to division. German tanks failing mechanically at unprecedented rates, weather-related oil failures suspected, enemy using inadequate lubricants for current temperatures. Estimate 30 to 40% German armor may be non-operational from this cause alone. The report reached Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force December 18. General Bradley's staff analyzed implications. If German tanks failing mechanically. Offensive momentum unsustainable. German spearheads would stall naturally. Allied counterattack timing improves. German recovery impossible. They lack replacement vehicles. Allied commanders didn't need to defeat the offensive. Just delay it. German logistics would do the rest. But Allied forces didn't know the full scale yet. December 18, 708 German tanks immobilized. Half the offensive force destroyed by oil. Commanders attempted solutions. Attempt 1, drain standard oil, replace with synthetic. 2nd Panzer Division ordered all synthetic oil consolidated. His division had 18 tanks worth of proper oil. His division fielded 89 tanks. Priority distribution, lead companies only. 18 tanks received synthetic oil. Continued advancing. 71 tanks retained standard oil. 44 of those 71 failed within 24 hours. Attempt 2, run engines continuously to prevent oil from solidifying. Panzer Lehr kept engines running overnight December 17. Fuel consumption, 3 times normal rate. His company fuel allocation, sufficient for 140 miles advance. With continuous engine operation, sufficient for 47 miles. By December 19, his company ran out of fuel. 12 operational Panthers immobilized. Not mechanical failure. No fuel. Attempt 3, mix gasoline with oil to thin viscosity. Major 1st SS Panzer Division ordered gasoline added to crankcase oil. Ratio, 1 part gasoline to 4 parts oil. Result, oil thinned adequately for -15 degrees Celsius. But gasoline destroyed oil's lubricating properties. After 60 minutes operation, engine bearings showing wear. After 90 minutes, bearing temperatures critical. After 120 minutes, first engine seized. Gasoline dilution accelerated failures instead of preventing them. Every solution failed. December 19, hour 84 of offensive. Total German armor committed, 1,400. Mechanically operational, 692. Immobilized oil failure, 708. 50.6% of offensive force destroyed by lubricant. The offensive continued on 692 functional tanks. But those 692 were failing hourly. December 20, operational 521 tanks. December 21, operational 387 tanks. December 22, operational 298 tanks. Germany was losing 100 to 150 tanks per day to mechanical failure. Allied forces weren't destroying the offensive. German logistics were. The tactical consequences became visible. December 18 approached. Mission, seize bridge over river. Graz. Drive for Meuse. Svorz. 117 tanks committed December 16. 39 tanks operational December 18. 78 tanks lost to mechanical failure. He attacked with 39 tanks instead of 117. American defenders, 119th Infantry Regiment, 30th Infantry Division. Tank destroyers, 8 M10s. Towed anti-tank guns, 12 pieces. Historical precedent, 117 German tanks would overwhelm this defense. But 39 tanks, numerical advantage insufficient. Attacked. Penetrated outer defenses, reached bridge approach. American anti-tank guns destroyed 4 Panthers. Had 35 tanks remaining. He needed 50 tanks minimum to force crossing against this defense. The bridge remained in American hands. Without that bridge, couldn't reach Meuse River. His stalled. By December 24, surrounded, Abandoned all vehicles. Escaped on foot. All 117 tanks lost, 78 from oil, 39 from combat after oil failures reduced his strength below effective minimum. December 20, 2nd Panzer Division approached. Mission: seize Meuse River crossing. Establish bridgehead. Division strength: 89 tanks committed December 16. 27 tanks operational December 20. 62 tanks mechanical failures. The division reached positions overlooking Meuse River December 23. American defenders, 2nd Armored Division. Shermans available, 73 tanks. 2nd Panzer Division had 27 operational Panthers. Numerical advantage, American. Under normal circumstances, 89 German tanks would defeat 73 Shermans through superior tactics and vehicle quality. But 27 Panthers couldn't defeat 73 Shermans. 2nd Panzer Division attacked December 24. Lost 18 Panthers. With 9 operational tanks. Never crossed Meuse River. The oil failures had stolen victory. Units that received proper synthetic oil, 82% operational. Panzer Lehr Division elements with synthetic oil advanced 41 miles by December 22. Brigade elements with synthetic oil reached within 4 miles of Meuse River. 9th Panzer Division Company with synthetic oil destroyed 17 American tanks in engagement near Bastogne. The 400 tanks with proper lubricant continued advancing, proving doctrine still worked when logistics didn't fail. But 400 tanks couldn't achieve what 1,400 were meant to accomplish. The 1,000 tanks without proper oil littered across 60 miles of Belgian forest. Crews abandoned immobilized tanks. Infantry forces bypassed them. Recovery vehicles couldn't move them all. American forces found Panthers. Abandoned in forests, crews gone, engines cold. Abandoned on roads, blocking German logistics. Abandoned in villages, surrounded by German infantry with no armor support. By December 24, over 800 German tanks immobilized or abandoned. Not from fighting. From oil. Final accounting, December 26, 1944. German armor committed to Im Rhein, 1,400 vehicles. Destroyed by enemy action, 341 tanks. Immobilized mechanical failure, 847 tanks. Captured functional, 73 tanks. Returned to German lines operational, 139 tanks. Mechanical losses, 2.5 times combat losses. The 847 mechanically failed tanks. 708 oil-related seizures. 94 transmission failures, oil adjacent. 45 other mechanical. Oil failures alone, 708 tanks equals 50.6% of committed force. Allied losses same period. American armor losses Ardennes. M4 Sherman destroyed, 394 tanks. Tank destroyers lost, 87 vehicles. Total, 481 vehicles. Replacement, 11 to 14 days. By January 10, 1945, all 481 American tanks replaced. New Shermans arrived from Antwerp port. New crews arrived from replacement depots. Lost units rebuilt to full strength. German armor could not be replaced at all. Production December to January. German, 1,015 tanks per month. Already committed, entire available force. Replacement pool, exhausted. Strategic mathematics. Germany lost 1,261 irreplaceable tanks, destroyed plus captured plus abandoned. America replaced 481 destroyed tanks in 2 weeks. Battle lasted 41 days total. Allied tank strength December 16, 2,400 tanks Western Front. Allied tank strength January 25, 2,850 tanks Western Front. Allied forces grew stronger during battle. German tank strength December 16, 1,400 tanks committed to offensive. German tank strength January 25, 311 operational tanks entire Western Front. Germany lost 77% of armored capability. Not from being defeated in combat. From being defeated by logistics. Operational tempo comparison. Planned advance, 60 miles in 7 days. Actual advance, 27 miles in 8 days. Shortfall 55%. Why shortfall? 50% of tanks immobilized, couldn't advance. Fuel exhausted faster, running engines to prevent oil freezing. Traffic jams from abandoned vehicles blocking roads. Recovery operations consumed logistics trucks. Infantry advancing without armor support, slower. Bypass routes required due to immobilized tanks. Models assessment January 12, 1945. The offensive failed not from Allied resistance primarily. Failed from our inability to sustain mechanical operations. 700 tanks immobilized by lubricant shortage represents systematic logistics failure that tactical excellence cannot overcome. The quote captured reality. German commanders, among world's best. German tank crews, elite veterans, average 18 months combat experience. German tactics, proven effective in 5 years of warfare. German tanks, technically superior to Allied vehicles. None of it mattered. Logistics defeated tactics. Systems defeated individuals. Production capacity defeated skill. Am Rhein was Germany's last major offensive. The 1,400 tanks committed represented Germany's final armored reserve. After Ardennes, Germany possessed 311 operational tanks on Western Front. Allied forces, 4,800 tanks. Ratio 15:1. Germany could not rebuild. Production capacity, 250 tanks per week. Losses rate, 310 tanks per week. The mathematics were terminal. Every week Germany fell 60 tanks further behind. Every month, 240 tank deficit. By March 1945, German armored forces ceased to exist as effective fighting force. Continued commanding 5th Panzer Army until surrender May 1945. Model committed suicide April 21, 1945, surrounded in Ruhr Pocket. The 1,261 tanks lost in Ardennes, never replaced. Germany's armored warfare capability died in Belgian forests. Not from Allied action. From systematic logistics collapse. The offensive demonstrated final proof of principle. Wars are not won by best soldiers. Not won by best tactics. Not won by best tanks. Won by side that can replace them. German Panther was superior to Sherman in every technical specification. Armor thickness, 120 mm versus 76 mm. Main gun, 75 mm high velocity versus 76 mm medium velocity. Kill ratio, 1 Panther destroyed 3.6 Shermans on average. German tactics were more sophisticated. Fire and maneuver doctrine. Combined arms integration. Aggressive exploitation. German crews more experienced. Average Panther crew, 18 months combat. Average Sherman crew, 4 months combat. But Sherman production, 1,800 per month. Panther production, 380 per month. Ratio 4.7:1. Every Panther destroyed was irreplaceable tragedy. Every Sherman destroyed was temporary inconvenience. The mathematics were absolute. Germany could win every tactical engagement. Germany could destroy 3 Allied tanks for every 1 German tank lost. Germany could employ superior tactics, superior training, superior equipment. None of it overcame production disparity. 1,400 German tanks began the Ardennes offensive December 16, 1944. 708 destroyed themselves through lubricant failure. 341 destroyed in combat. 139 survived to return to German lines. The largest armored offensive Germany could still muster was defeated by wrong oil. 5 degrees Celsius temperature difference. Standard oil rated -10 degrees Celsius. Actual temperature -15 degrees Celsius. 5 degrees destroyed 708 tanks. 5 degrees destroyed Germany's last offensive. 5 degrees prove that perfect planning couldn't overcome systematic logistics collapse. Tactical excellence couldn't substitute for industrial capacity. Individual skill couldn't defeat production mathematics. The Blitzkrieg doctrine that conquered Poland, France, and reached Moscow failed in Belgian forests. Not because doctrine was wrong, because the system sustaining doctrine had collapsed. Systems defeat soldiers. Production defeats tactics. Logistics defeats courage. Always.